Hello everyone, we are live yet again, and this is going to be one of my authors chats of the week. And so as everybody gets notified that I'm up and running, I'll give it a moment and I'll keep my eye out for my co-host this week, and then we'll get going. And as always, for these particular streams, we'll be talking about books, writing, and publishing, and all things in between. I actually was filling out a very long kind of survey questionnaire because I'll be participating in a con later on this year, and they were trying to figure out what panels or what kind of workshops that I wanted to run or panels I want to be part of, and so that was fun. So that's what I just got done completing, but it'll be exciting to see what I will be talking about and when, and for this particular con, which will happen in October, so we will see. But yeah, so this week it's been a rough week for me to try to write new material, and I think it's because, I don't know, there are sometimes, if you're a writer, you may recognize this, but sometimes there are certain stories that are just harder for you to sit down, and that's what I'm dealing with right now. So I may change things up and work on a different project and then come back.
Oops.
Hello!
Hello. Been a while since I've gone live, and well, I'll mess with that later.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I keep hearing, there you go, okay, there you go. Actually, you'll have to let me know, because I've been trying to figure out how to do the green screen while I'm live. For instance, if I'm ever doing a live for a particular book launch or something, but I've never figured that out, so it looked like you had done it before.
Well, I went live, I enabled my camera, and then it gave me the option. So it might be one of those unfortunate things where TikTok has multiple versions out, and different people have access to different features, because why bother having something universally level, you know?
Exactly. No, that is an irritating part, but it is interesting and makes you wonder what aspect of their algorithm has triggered that you now have earned this particular privilege temporarily, and this other person has not. So I have no idea.
I'm going to give you a more irritating answer if you want it.
Okay, I'm ready.
I've noticed that the longer I go without posting TikToks, the more when I come back, I get something new. Like, hey, now you have 10 minutes, or now you have this or that or that. I'm like, so basically, lack of usage can they try to incentivize people to come back and use it. So,
well, that may be a good little perk, because I'm about to go on an extended trip, and though I will have a few videos kind of pre-ready. But I know I'm not going to be posting nearly as much as I normally do, so I'm wondering if that's going to then trick the algorithm and be like, you need to get her back.
Yeah, from the techie side of things, unless you have do you use an iPhone or an Android?
I use Android.
So do you have your apps set to automatically update?
Maybe not. You're asking a non-techie person.
No, it's fine. I love helping with basic IT stuff like that. My day job is in technology, so if it's a simple question like that, I always encourage mutuals or friends to reach out and ask, because more often than not, it's a pretty simple fix. Although I will say I did go down. Do you mind a quick tangent before we get into the actual interview? So Robin Banu, if you do you know of her?
I don't think she sounds familiar at this moment, but I'm also very bad with names, so.
That's perfectly fine. She's a romanticy mutual of mine, and we've chatted a few times. One time she posted about her computer having trouble. Thing is, so we went down the rabbit hole of solutions, and we arrived at the drivers that she needed to download are no longer available. We stuck with it until it was reasonable, and I was like, yeah, time to get new technology, because technically we could have gone further, but at that point it would have been suggesting something like go to potential sources that may or may not compromise your security, and I'm like, nah, I don't want that liability, and I don't think, well, hello there, Moose. That is one of my narrators for Galaxy Waffles, who voices all the mail rolls, and has a his baritone and lower registers are awesome.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And it's always nice to meet other narrators and, again, anybody who is in the bookish community and just to connect and expand and so hello. But yeah, no, I will now make a note because I always keep my little sticky pads now. I'm getting better about this habit and make my notes because I always learn something either about the person I'm talking with or just something bookish in general. I'm like, okay, IT, I'm going to talk to you in the future for something. I'm sure.
Hey, by all means. At one point, I was building up a list of artists and other contacts to share about the ones that I've done business with and I can personally vouch for. That kind of got lost between the cracks. But one thing I do have on hand that I'm happy to send to you is what I call an events guide. Mm-hmm. And so it's information that I've collected by watching my wife vend, as well as trying to vend my book alongside her as a part of her booth. And it's a lot of basic, easy start information.
Ooh, good, because I will be participating in a couple different cons later on this like late summer, fall, and I'm hoping to potentially have a booth at a couple of them for the first time. So I'm like, I've been picking other
I will
authors'
definitely
brains.
email it to you.
How do you send?
Yeah, I will definitely email it to you. It's got a lot of good basic 101 stuff to keep in mind. First thing I'll say here on the live is buy a chair.
Yeah. Ooh.
Across the board, no matter what event you're at, the chairs they provide suck. And you might as well be sitting on 3 legs with plastic. It will, because you're sitting there for hours on end. If you've got any back, hip, or any sort of issues, yeah, it's not a good time. So I actually include a recommended chair in a link in the document, and it's like
fantastic.
30, 45.
Booth guide.
Mm-hmm.
Make note of that. Because that getting things to think about, and I'm just like trying to wrap my head around, like, again, if I get accepted to that aspect, I've already been accepted to the panel part of it, but if I am able to sell, I'm like, how many, the basics, how many books do I bring? Do I need a banner? And if so, do people do the vertical better or the horizontal? All these like little things.
Yeah, actually, I just invested in my own banner, so I can update the events guide with that information as well. It was reasonably priced, and it's machine washable material.
Hey, well, I see Moose mentioning about a lazy boy and relish the jealousy of others. 1, hysterical. 2, here's my side note. So I used to live in New Orleans, and during the Mardi Gras season, because it's a season there, it's not a day, there is one group of gentlemen, and they dress up in smoker jackets, and they have automated, like, mobile lazy boys. And so they go through the parades, just rolling down the street in a unit, drinking their scotch, smoking their cigars, dressed up, flying that they're just I can't remember what they're exactly that group's called, but they're known there.
If they don't call themselves the Hefner Parade, I'm sorry, that's a missed opportunity.
I don't
and
think
also,
that was
Moose,
what they were called, but
great idea on the comfort. 2 things. 1, are you carrying it to my car? And 2, your booth mates will hate you because you want to be a good neighbor to the people you're selling around, and that's going to take up way too much space.
What? You just stretch out. But yes, I can see the size might be an issue. But actually, since we jumped ahead ourselves, for anybody who doesn't know you and's jumping on, why don't we go to the basics and let you introduce yourself and what you write,
Sure.
And then we can jump back into the randomness.
Of course. Sorry to derail so much, but yes, I am the part-time chaos gremlin known as Nikolai Wisekal. I do fantasy and sci-fi writings. I primarily got my start with Kindle Vella when it first launched. I am still releasing episodes there as part of my publishing process. And I started writing when I was in high school because, one big traditionally published inspiration was Christopher Paolini, because he was independently published. He wrote his first book at 18, and I'm like, if he can do it, I can do it. But apart from that, what I figured out early on was writing is a magic trick. Think about it. No matter the genre, except maybe nonfiction, but even then, it usually discusses people or events that have passed. You are reading a random assembly of words and in fantasy and sci-fi, completely made up places and people, and you care. And I wanted to learn how to do that magic trick. And I've still got a long ways to go, but I'm happy to say that with support and dedication and a lot of stubbornness, I've gotten pretty good at doing some of that magic.
Well, now that's making me come up with the idea. You should have a shirt that says, "I'm a wizard of words," or wordcraft, or something akin to that. See?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That would be a lot of fun. I actually do have a wizard hat made by Kiwi Mail Creations, who is also my wife.
Ooh.
So it is something that I either use as a booth prop or I put on my head.
Yes, a word weaver. I actually use that one a lot for myself.
Okay, yeah, no, I need to write that one down because oh great, I'm the writer without a piece of paper. Here we go.
It's okay. Like I said, I used to scramble trying to figure out, and now I keep a sticky note pad next to me to add to my
actually,
walls.
really handy tip for you and my fellow writers here. Facebook Messenger. You can message yourself, and then if you either oh, sorry, it looks like I'm gonna have to switch audio sources for a second. Let me disable this.
You got this.
And can you still hear me okay?
Yep, I can.
Perfect. So in Facebook Messenger, you can message yourself. You can search your chat history, and it retains things for years.
Ooh.
I also use it as a makeshift dictaphone because you can send audio messages to yourself. One thing that does make it easier if you're searching for something is you either throw in the title or the premise of your idea, and that way you can search those terms as in the conversation.
That's really neat. I did not know that.
That way you get an idea at 2 a.m., you just reach for your phone, hit record, blah, 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 go to sleep.
I love it. And I did note the comment saying when one spouse says they want to be a wizard instead of a king on TikTok, the spouse gets a custom wizard hat. I love that.
She is amazing and absolutely integral to my creative process because of that kind of enthusiasm. But yeah, remember, how long have you been on Book Talk or TikTok in general?
Oh, it's been a few years, but I do know of the Book Talk crowns for a lot of
that whole trend. I'm like, I don't really have the whole king energy. Plus, I don't know if I want the burden of sitting in the throne of someone coming and bitching to me all day long. By the way, is the live set to an adult audience? I don't want us to get banned or anything for language.
I did not set it to an adult audience, but yes. So thank you for asking that. So don't get too detailed of explicit scenes, but
No, good to know because no one needs their live privileges revoked.
That is very true. But no, I get that. For me, one of my series that I write is dark retelling of Norse mythology, so Viking fantasy essentially. And so I have a couple different headpieces. One is a replica of a Viking helmet. I think it's heavy. And then the other one is a Valkyrie helmet that I made, which is ridiculous. But again, it's a twist. It's like, what's fun that you can wear and,
Absolutely.
have when you talk about your stuff, which is books.
The thing that she's talking about, where you can see my finger, that's dark. She got a Porg plushie for me as a gift, and randomly I named it Dr. Porkenstein.
I love it.
Error Bella and a certain individual. You're going to have to elaborate, Moose, because my brain is not braining from that.
But yeah, okay, let me ask you, because you mentioned that as a sci-fi and fantasy writer that you've been dabbling or working or utilizing Kindle Vella, which I've heard pros and cons depending on the author, and I don't know if it's a genre thing or what, but I've heard some people love it, and other people were like, it was definitely not for them. So how has that been for you?
A mixed bag.
Okay.
So, I've called it my productivity hack for the longest time because it helps me get words on the page and then release them, and then I can refine them through the novel publishing process. And I usually just include a note. Actually, you'll see it in the Galaxy Waffles novel.
Show the cover.
Yep. Yeah. So, in the story somewhere else, is the story somewhere else on the internet? Yes, it's on Kindle Vella as a serial. Both stories told in episodes. Which one is official? Both. And I just explained this is pretty much edition two. It's also been expanded and changed for the scene structure to read more as a novel than a serial. But getting back to your question about what's it like, again, mixed bag. It When it first launched, it was paying a bonus based on
Mm-hmm.
uploads and interactions. What quickly became apparent, though, is that depending on the month, they would value different metrics in different ways. Because
Oh.
one month you release 5 episodes, you get X amount of money for that, plus whatever other metrics, and then you release 10 episodes, and your bonus might be lower. So that ambiguity quickly got annoying because people quickly started depending on it for income, both as a marketing budget and bills, because
Yeah.
rough times, unless you're a certain economic class, which in my opinion should be eaten. But yeah, as for the state of Vela right now, the last major change they made was that now 10 episodes are free to read. They've
Okay.
also shifted the target audience from just readers in general to college students, and based on their interactions, and I'm not sure how they're determining that, maybe the account information of those who interact, that's now a primary qualifier for bonuses.
Huh.
So they've made it harder to make a reasonable amount, reasonable, reliable amount.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And also, they've given away more of our stories for free. The immediate reaction from the community was to basically truncate all those first 10 episodes and then re upload the content. And then, in their usual bad faith or just bad communication tactics, they were like, no, you can't do that. That compromises the quality for people. I'm like, wait a minute. I understand it's a beta program and everything, but why are you not giving us the flexibility to decide what content is available?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you made a sweeping change that vastly affects our potential income doesn't mean we should just sit there and take it.
Yeah.
And going back a little bit more, originally, Kindle Vella was only available to the iPhone market. And when it became available on Android, there was no email, no posts, no marketing, nothing. The Kindle Vella community figured it out all by itself and posted about it. And that's an example of a big con. We are both the marketing team and the content maker by their choice.
I
So
gotcha.
do not. So is some pros. I want us just to be fair. The UI for setting it up is very simple. You can also make a lot of adjustments very quickly, based on my experience. Some people have said that they have to wait, or they've waited over a week for something to go through, and there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it. I know that when I've created a story and I've uploaded an episode, it's usually live within 24 to 48 hours. Same
Okay.
thing goes for any edits I want to make to the episode, as well as any story details, like what tags or genre tags it has. So that modular and that simplicity is great, but doesn't change the frustrating aspect of being on Vela.
I gotcha. I was just curious because I know there's something that I want to look into when I get back from this trip, and that is the platform Ream that I
Mhm.
was recommended by some of these other book talk authors, because it is almost in a sense serial like, but it's the idea is a Patreon, but it's written by it's created by authors and writers for authors and writers, and kind
Mhm.
of like some of these more serialized stuff. You write a chapter, you upload it, people, pay to read it. You write your next chapter, upload it, and then you can build tiers and, expand what you offer at various tiers depending on what you want. But it is a program meant for writers and readers, for
Yeah.
writers and readers. And I was something that I'm curious again, because it's like another way to have an income, still reach readers, but just a little different than the traditional. I buy a book and I download the book and I read the book, or I buy the book and open the book,
Yeah.
or however platform format you
Absolutely.
like.
I'm actually going to be getting started on that as well. So if you ever want to exchange information, I also know some Vela authors that went that way. So yeah, anything I learn, I'm willing to share, as well as anything you want to share back. Because one of the things that I apply to all parts of my life is always be open to learning. Uh,
Yes, absolutely.
one one true wayism is always the biggest red flag to me, because everyone's life and everyone's path is different. So why would one way apply to everyone? You know?
Yeah, and we in the publishing world have to accept the fact that there is no one way to do it. There are so many ways. It is what is the best way for you, or best ways, because some people are doing multiple options. And part of that is figuring out what works, and part of that is asking and trying and failing, but
Yeah,
that's what we
absolutely.
do.
I mean, my attempt with Ream is going to be a new project that kind of barreled its way into my writing schedule, called Scales and Pages, which features a dragon librarian who has a lot of their books stolen by a boomer archmage. And now he has to go flying around the world to find them, and they meet people and have different adventures. I'm calling it a cozy fantasy adventure because yes, it's a little bit more proactive than static in its location, but the stakes are all personally related to the MC, which is my first attempt at writing a gender fluid character. So I'm looking forward to the challenges and expansion of skill that's going to be there.
That's great. So actually, let's roll back for a second and let's talk about some of the other works that you have written and you have published. Because name a few of them. Tell us a little bit about what the your pitch is.
Sure.
What is
Okay,
your
so the one that is easiest to pitch is the Divine Counseling Files. That's going to be the series name. The first novel is going to be the Olympian Dysfunction, and the opening line. TikTok, don't get mad at me for this. He wouldn't stop flipping up his toga and fucking everything with a pulse. The tagline is Marriage Counselor to the Gods. So the idea behind the series was I'd seen a lot of stories. I love Percy Jackson, for instance. I'd grown up with Jason and the Argonauts, and so I'd seen a lot of different takes on the original myths and adventures. I'd also seen characters like Percy Jackson who
Mhm.
related to the gods in certain ways, but I'd never seen the relationships of the gods on in the spotlight. So I was like, "What's one way that could be relevant?" And marriage counseling for the married deities of each pantheon just clicked. So the first book, The Olympian Dysfunction, obviously focuses on Zeus and Hera, and ooh, boy, that was a roller coaster because um, it would the genuine challenge of that story was a way to try and keep both of them accountable without making them completely dislikable. Because
Mhm.
while Hera is definitely a victim of Zeus's philandering, she also makes choices that are not good for her or those around her.
Yep.
So, and Zeus, the temptation early on was to just kill him because it's cathartic, it's powerful. But an early premise that I had established in the plot was that the whole reason they can't get divorced is that they are beings of chaotic energy, and if you crack a pantheon like that, the world suffers at large. In fact, that's one of the recurring things that keep my main male main character motivated is the economic, meteorological, or other forms of fallout that affect the Mediterranean, which is where you find them both as the Greek and the Italian versions.
Mhm. That's really neat. No, I've not heard anything close to that kind of twist for a I don't know if it's not necessarily a retelling, but a kind of a
I I've been calling it a
version of.
modern fantasy. That's actually been one of my struggles with some of my stories. They kind of blend various concepts, so finding the exact genre they fit is a challenge because this
Oh yes.
started because yeah. All right, so that was one of the first stories I published on Vela. The most recent one that I've been updating is called Plague of Faith, which is going to be part of a series called the Primordial Saga. It features a sunshine gay POC necromancer and a grumpy POC death paladin, and they have to go around the world to try and prevent the cults that are literally warping the world's magic from destroying the world, while figuring out how to be what the other person needs.
Oh wow, I love that. Now, okay, you sound like you're one of the authors that knows how to pitch your book because there I feel like two factions of us. One that's like, here, I got my pitch, and it's brilliant, and then there's others of us that kind of flounder around and be like, well, we're working on it. How do we summarize a book into a couple sentences?
Trial and error, honestly. I mean, Marriage Counselors of the Gods was the easiest one. Galaxy Waffles, my first release novel, has been more challenging because there are multiple elements to it. I originally it was found family on a diner spaceship fights a nightmare boss. My most recent version is three chuckle fucks try to survive in an unfair galaxy. So, yeah. Boris the chef bot, Murph the shapeshifter, and Jolene the empath.
That's great.
Then we have this is an antagonist. His name is Odd, or short for observation drone.
Ooh.
And then we have Arabella, or as Moose likes to call her, Errorbella. She is definitely the villainess. So, yeah. She's actually the only character I don't have stickers of. But the art is fantastic. I put her on the bottom of my water bottle.
Fun.
RBF was definitely one of the requirements for the artist.
Fun.
Because, yep, it's. I've been told that it's both funny but also too realistic to the struggles that people go through. For instance, when I first introduced this character to Rachel, because she's my alpha reader, she recoiled and hissed like a cat dunked in water because apparently she was every bad and toxic manager she'd ever had. Because Rachel is my primary source for the average experience as a waitress or in the service industry.
That's okay. I love reactions from readers because again, if you get them to react in some major way, happy, sorrow, or hissing like a cat, that's the first one for me. But that's good. That means you're reaching them on some kind of integral, emotional level, and that's what we want to do as writers. But hissing like a cat, that is the first one.
Yeah. No, she loves the world for the found family aspects and the all too realistic tragedies of it. Because in this world, there's a tiered society. They're divided between Starbloods and Terrabloods. Now, it applies to almost every species. I say almost because when I explain it, you'll understand why shapeshifters would be a nightmare to regulate. But the idea behind it is if you were born on world, you're a Terrablood. If you were born off world, you're a Starblood. Starbloods aren't slaves, but they are second-class citizens because they don't have the protections that offered by national citizenship. And so they can't vote, they can't unionize, and more often than not, they end up as corporate employees because they're the cheapest labor force. And yeah, so try imagining regulating a species of shapeshifters for that. And the whole reason this world exists and why the system got put in place. They didn't even want to invest in the bureaucracy necessary to properly assign citizenship.
Oh, wow.
Human society was created because of laziness, and that is probably one of the most realistic elements ever in it. I like to describe this as Hitchhiker's Guide humor meets Futurama dystopia, or actually one of the ways that has helped sell multiple copies is my wife's description, which is, oh well, there's someone who should get kicked from the live.
Let's see.
Пойди нахуй, пожалуйста.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I speak Russian, and I just told him to f off.
Yep.
Please.
But let me ask you, and what you've been talking about, your various different projects, they range widely in the sense of, some very different type of fantasy to your sci-fi side of things. So I think you mentioned that you only use that one author name. You don't have like multiple pen name accounts.
Yeah.
Okay, so what made you decide I want to go that route? Because some people like to choose pen names for different genres to make it easy for marketing. Other people kind of say, I'm sticking with one because, it's hard to juggle so many different platforms. So I was just curious, how did you make that decision?
Honestly, it was a decision born out of I don't have that much released. While Kindle Vella is a valid publishing path, it is still not widely known or widely read. And another con to it is that when I've tried educating readers of varying levels of enthusiasm about it in the American market, because it's still only available to America, they've just the most consistent answer is I'll just wait for the full book.
Mm-hmm.
So I only have one novel, one novella, and one anthology available. So right now, I basically made that choice out of I don't have much. I think I have enough for multiple pen names.
I
And
gotcha.
honestly, it's hard enough juggling everything while working a full time job. I didn't want to have to keep track of multiple tax records or multiple names. Yeah, no. It just, I understand how niching down can be effective. However, it's also very creatively restricting.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose that was also part of the choice. I wanted to have the option of doing what I want, telling the stories that I want.
No, I love that. And I'm kind of the same way. I mean, right now I am all fantasy, but my fantasy does vary from like the dark fantasy, grim dark side of things, all the way to light and bright, adventure and quest kind of stuff. So, with all the subgenres and age brackets varying from young adult, new adult to adult, I could have, that would have been a lot for me to do, trying to, like you said, compartmentalize, break apart, the whole business into these subgenres, or subcategories, which, yeah, may make marketing for those niches, a lot simpler. But on the other hand, I just want to be known as just a writer. And if you like my writing,
My,
come. But yes, understand it does vary. So
yeah,
maybe the dark side is not for you. Cool. Well, I have a little more positive, optimistic, fun side as well. So it's
yeah, of
I have a
course.
little bit of variety to offer.
Perfect. I mean, one consistent thing about me across the board is I write for an adult audience.
Mm-hmm.
All my worlds, swearing, alcohol, or whatever. Basically, all the things that we define as part of an adulthood, and have the reader rolling for it. And what the dice roll decides what genre and series they get. I mean, actually, that could
Kind
be
of fun.
fun at the table. Yeah, no, I okay. So one of the brilliant things that my wife does at shows, she has a little mimic, 3D printed mimic
Ooh.
that you can roll, and you get a certain dollar discount depending on your result. And I've been trying to think of a way to gamify my table, but I don't sell the same kind of products. I don't have a very wide catalog, but philosopher's voice, that actually, that could work. Like, I'd need to release more books. I mean, I'm planning to release the Olympian Dysfunction still at the end by the end of this year. But that could actually work. You roll 1 through 10, you get the fantasy. 10 through 20, you get sci-fi.
There you go.
It'd be fun.
I like that.
Just another way for people to engage at the table. But
that is.
I think one thing that could help you, if you don't mind me sharing an opinion, is just maybe breaking things down into your age brackets. That way, people can at least know what to expect per bracket with your content, and and just go from there.
That is true, and I know for the older stuff, I definitely kind of lean more to the dark fantasy side of things than my YA, which is the Noble Bride, the portal fantasy adventure stuff. But yeah, it is a marketing challenge, but
yeah,
c'est la vie. Now, talking about gamifying things for my YA series, one of the things that I was able to do, because my husband helped me with this one, was started printing out, have these custom 3D minis for TTRPG that are designed to look like your characters. I hand paint them, and he came up with especially subclasses and character sheets, so when people want to get them as extra add-ons, they can now play as the character on their next game. So
perfect. That is an awesome thing. I wish I remembered to grab it, but I have the fantasy anthology that I'm part of. I also sell a little dragon scale keychain that people can get in their favorite colors, because Kiwi Mail Creations, like in the name, she works with chainmail. So we made a little dragon scale keychain for people as an add-on. So
I love that.
I also recently got author brand stickers that are going to be free with every purchase. So just pull one of those out. Ooh. The idea being lightning in a bottle.
I like it.
In a mana potion bottle, because of course. And fun little additions like that are great. For any newer authors in the chat, though, be careful about making too many things, because you might overwhelm people with too many options, or to just feel like, okay, so are you selling me a book, or are you selling me an entire package deal?
And yeah, that's definitely something for you to be aware of and decide. And but I get that. I definitely get that. And like for me, one of the new things I started doing towards the end of last year was starting to do sell direct. So it was trying to figure out like what did I want to do? Did I want to just sell just the book? Did I want to put in some add-ons? Do I want different tiers? How I was kind of designing my bookshop and things to consider, because some people go absolutely crazy with every book they sell. And that's great if you can figure out how to afford it.
The romantasy Kickstarters that I've seen, no. Everything from the sprayed edges to the semi-transparent.
It's not vellum sheets inlays? Yeah,
the vellum sheets with adult art and other such things. It is impressive, and probably a logistical nightmare with how much.
I've run a couple Kickstarters, and like for the ones I've run have been to fundraise kind of for upcoming releases in general, but I think I want to play, and of course I'm going to regret this, watch it real quick, but I do want to potentially do a limited run release of a special cover for my complete series. And but have the tiers where if you fundraise enough, then offer some of the more fancy stuff, sprayed edges or vellum inserts and stuff like that. But that's a lot of planning in advance, a lot of making sure you know how to do it.
Absolutely.
And then sending out all that stuff in the end. If you
decided on who you would use for sprayed edges by any chance?
I have not done them yet. That's something, again, I want to learn how to do to offer for those kind of special things. But there are lots of authors that show how-to videos on things like here and YouTube or other platforms too. So if you wanted to learn the process, but of course there's some equipment you need to pick up and all
Oh
that.
yeah, no, unless someone flat out states they're planning on doing everything themselves, I usually just like to recommend and shout out other businesses. For instance, Painted Wings Publishing does the. I'm not sure if they do sprayed edges yet, but they did figure out how to turn the printing process to their advantage with art on this side. So
Yeah,
basically,
I've seen someone do that before.
hmm
That is such an interesting thing. Like where I'm trying to remember. It's like you bleed certain colors toward the
exactly.
edges, and so when you turn it, all of a sudden it has a design, which is really cool concept. Again, don't know how to do it, but it's like one of those. Oh wow, that is interesting. That is neat.
Yeah, honey, you can tell the audience not to pay attention to the shells in the background, but I live with you. I do pay attention. So yeah, no, I married a zero learning curve crafter. I have literally watched her watch someone do something, and then she'll either have ideal or less than ideal results, and then she'll second attempt she'll be rocking and rolling.
That's fantastic.
It is incredible to behold, and also very enviable because wow. But yeah, no, it sounds like you've got a solid plan, and I've got other friends who have been running Kickstarters as well. Just out of curiosity, if you don't mind me asking a question, even though I'm
Yeah, this is a chat both ways.
fine. Would you say that you should have an audience before going to Kickstarter, or is it okay to start on Kickstarter with no audience?
So, interestingly enough, I went to the big indie conference, what is now being rebranded Author Nation this coming year, but 20 books, 50K last
Last
year.
year. Wait,
And one of
were you there
the.
at the same time?
Wait, were you there?
Last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, then we were there at the same time.
Small world.
Yep. Big conference, small world. Either way, but yeah, no, I went and sit in some of the Kickstarter stuff because I wanted to improve my game from the first time, and there are different philosophies in terms of your question, and some of them say just understand Kickstarter is like any other platform, and so there are people who have already been trained and utilize that as a way to get books, and so you will potentially, even if you start out without a following, have that reach like pretty much anywhere to reach new readers that utilize the Kickstarter platform again as their favored way of getting books. But
Mhm.
if you never hurts to have a following.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you do, market, advertise the fact that you're doing it, and start low. Start a low bid. Don't necessarily ask for the 20 grand.
No, 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 no.
But if you
I,
start low, and because it is a social platform, you build a following, and then the next year it notifies everybody who's following you, and then you're building on top of that and building on top of that. So just it's something to be aware of, is that it has a lot of long game potential, though I know a lot of people who their first time doing it have hit it out of the ballpark.
yeah, no, it there's that bit of random. And as far as your point about marketing, yeah, that's honestly a struggle for me because I'm used to shouting out other people. I'm used to being very supportive of others and providing solutions and everything else. But being loud about myself, being proud of what I do is challenging. It's not because I don't believe this is bad. I mean, could it be better after I read it and released it? Yeah, of course. I mean, I think every author goes
Yep.
through that. But being loud about it on a consistent basis, and I say loud because yeah, Facebook, Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, whatever combination of platforms you choose to commit to, if you are not constantly talking about it,
Mm-hmm.
things are getting lost, and opportunities for visibility are being lost. But I don't know what it is exactly. But I know I have some ideas, but trying to be consistently loud is a mental block up here. If you
Well, I repurpose. I love repurposing things. So anytime I make a video on here, I use one of the other alternative apps that take off the little, the downloaded logo because that irritates me. And then I repost it on all my other platforms, minus Twitter X. I don't like Twitter X, and I can never figure out and whatever. But all the other ones, I'll like repurpose videos, and then the same thing is I'll make, maybe flat images or other kind of content, and I'll just rotate it. It'll be in a cycle between all the things, and so people see it at different times. But I'm always having something to post, and I'm making it once, a month or once a week versus every day.
I mean, on the flip side of things, you have people like CM Alonji, who does the Cafe Latte series. By the way, if you like cozy fantasy, fantastic experience. She has tons of amazing representation that feels natural and organic to the story, as well as discussing different experiences that retail workers go through, along with a lot of great magical world building. She is fantastic at building skits. She's actually one of those authors that hit it out of the park with a Kickstarter. If you want to look it up, it's Heart of Iron. I think she had a goal of like maybe 10K and she got like 150. So she's actually going on a nationwide tour with her book.
That is fantastic.
That's her. And then you also have Hell's Bells, which it features the Help Desk, HELLP, and both of them do what I wanted to do that, but all the ideas build up in here, and then it's like a roadblock of which one do I do, and do I have enough camera presence or enough skill to pull it off so that it actually functions as a skit that could potentially lead to readers. I am very good at Canva, and I'm very good at creating graphics, so I might just default to that for a while and might try that later. But you're right. Recycling content does save a lot of time and a lot of headache. Remind me again, were we going to do a reading from any of my stories at any point?
If you want to do that, yeah, I was going to leave that up to you to see if you want to do a reading. And I do have a few questions I want to make sure I ask, but I always can save them to the end because they're just the main ones to hit. But yes, read away.
So everyone in the chat, you get to decide something. What I read from Galaxy Waffles. Do you want something funny? Do you want something action? Or do you want something that will stab you in the heart?
Or we roll a dice and see what page we hit.
Yeah. No, actually, that's a great idea. If I can find one. I usually have them all over the place. I don't know. So comment, action, stab, or actually, I don't know if you can say that in the chat. Heart, action, heart, or funny. And
I mean, I'm always a
no heart punch
action person, but a good little bit of humor is a great thing. Oh, no heart punch.
All right, so no heart punch, honey. You also need to say what you want, not just what you don't want.
It's the reverse way of doing it. You just.
No, it works great for us because ADHD and all the other stuff that we go through, we've actually figured out the best way to decide on where to go. I was going to do Galaxy Waffles because it's the one that's available as a novel, but yeah, so. We often don't ask, what do you want for dinner? We ask, what are you not in the mood to eat? And we just the person's near it. So, yeah. And Broomball, yes, you're right. Those are awesome skit series. And, okay, funny. And you said action. We need a tiebreaker.
I see funny or action. I mean, I'm totally fine with funny as well. So we can go with something.
I'm gonna do one that blends the two.
And while you're looking it up, I'll let everybody know that if this platform's nice, I will repost this on my YouTube channel with all Nikolai's content down below, and so you can come back and reference anything throughout this in the future. Dun, dun, dun.
I'll make sure, and for the surprise at the end that we're going to be discussing, I will include a link to the thing I will be posting for it. Okay, so this is from, I believe, chapter 3, and let me just confirm that. Yes, called The Owl and the Beard. All right. Okay. Bardros, make a door, the Strigiform sneered, and the Pricklebeard's 6 arms made a bomb motion right before something went click. Jolene hit the deck as her ears filled with high-pitched whine, followed by a bang. Force, light, flames. The three filled the kitchen on the wall opposite the fridge. Before her vision went white, Jolene could see waves of energy gliding around the thieves in a circle. She covered her head and pressed her face to the floor. The containment fields took in energy, feeding it to the ship's grid. The explosion still bulged the blue sheets. They contracted without breaking. One container broke through the smoke, shooting into space, followed by 2 spacesuits. Every molecule of air in the room followed. Hull integrity compromised, Odd said in his usual helpful tone. Jolene had come to expect. Deploying counter, the AI's words cut off as Boris's frame obeyed the laws of physics and got sucked into the hole in the wall. There was no sound in the vacuum, but as the room filled with air, Boris's drunken singing was joined by groaning metal. Murph laughed. Jolene rolled her eyes. Adapting countermeasures, calculating damages. Galaxy Waffles headquarters will decide payroll deductions, Odd finished, and Murph stopped laughing. They started running till they were face to face with Jolene. We need to get the sushi back, Murph shouted, their usual flashing eyes steady and unblinking. Jolene closed her eyes to think. Odd reported to headquarters meant a sector supervisor, and theirs was a special kind of bureaucratic demon. If they wanted to break even and avoid a massive company fine, they'd spend the rest of their lives paying off. Murph was right. Go through all the info Odd gathered. Find me something, Jolene barked. Murph's legs became 8 spider legs, and they skittered off. Jolene turned to the screen. Odd, are the peacekeepers on the way? Odd appeared as a cartoon waffle with syrup brown, pompadour hair, enormous eyes, and a permanent grin. The customers thought it was cute. Jolene was more certain he needed a programming change. Yes, and the explosion has hastened their response time, Odd answered. Finally, some good news. If they could pursue and disable their ship, they could recover the sushi and any assets to help pay for damages. Start tracking their signal and pursue them, Jolene ordered, wondering how a waffle-shaped diner ship would keep up. The shielding would keep them intact. Boris's counters and stovetops were charred slag. Kinetics and heat turned every kitchen tool into shrapnel that stabbed into every surface. I have logged their ship ID and information. I cannot comply with your second order. Further risk to Galaxy Waffles property is, Odd began, but Jolene had already pulled up what she needed and began reciting from her HUD. Galaxy Waffles Regulation 34124. All employees are expected to attempt recovery of stolen assets within the bounds of galactic law. Pursuing and disabling their ship complies with both. Now fly after them or I'll report you as defective. Jolene finished, poking the cartoon waffle between the eyes. Odd's permanent grin didn't change, but his bacon eyebrows went diagonal at the threat. Excuse me, Boris shouted. Jolene and Odd both looked his way. Why is my ass in outer space? And that's where the chapter ends.
I love that. That was fun. I do like that comparison with the Hitchhiker's Guide, and I can definitely see the Futurama kind of dystopian-ish vibes. Yep. Implications going on there, so that's fun.
Yep, and again, the artist did a fantastic job bringing the characters to life. This is Odd.
And who is your artist? Who has done your characters?
Laser Louise is his handle on X, or sorry, I'm not going to give Elon the satisfaction of that name change. Laser Louise on Twitter. And I believe he used that same handle on Insta and TikTok. Sad to say, he has not been available for commissions for 2+ years because he got involved in a webcomic project. So I've not been able to expand my art and sticker collection, but I am talking to an artist who I hope to have work something up in time for July 23rd.
Yay! Well, let me ask you a couple of the basics, and again, this goes hopefully in the whole fact that if I'm able to repurpose this video, other people may be able to discover you going forward. But we mentioned that obviously you have some works on Kindle Villa, and I see my little swipe thing, and I don't know why it likes me to do that nowadays, but okay, I'm back. And so where else can people find your books to purchase them? Do you sell direct? Are you exclusive through Amazon? Where can people get your copies of your books outside of Kindle Villa?
I go through Draft to Digital, so all the links that I have are universal book links. They go to multiple vendors. I haven't been able to figure out the selling direct thing because in my head, it doesn't make sense to pay for a web shop that doesn't sustain itself yet.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a link that I'll be reactivating soon for signed copies of Galaxy Waffles that's available through my wife's Square store. So look for that in my link tree when it's back. And yep, like she said, signed copies are available on my website. We are also going to be trying to get back up a series of waffle patches that have a crew on them. And those are iron-on patches.
Fun!
Yeah, and so I decided to go wide to summarize the answer because, again, different genre, but doesn't mean it can't happen to us. I saw all the horror stories of romance authors having their entire series or individual books from their series pulled from KDP because pirated copies. And I'm like, I do not want to invest all the time and energy it requires to build up a following there only for some jerk to download and post my book for free and then Amazon punishes me for it.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree, and that's one of the reasons why I moved away from KDP, and I haven't taken it fully wide yet, but I did the middle step of direct, and then down the line would like to move everything to a wide as well aspect and going forward. But so you have ebooks and paperback. Do you have any other formats at the moment, or is it just those two for right now?
Ebooks and paperback are currently all I have. The Galaxy Waffles audiobook has been in production for about 2 years now, but we are closing in on final steps. So I'm hoping to get that released this year.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing about Moose and Cricket, who is the other narrator who does the feminine voices as well as the prose, they've been incredibly passionate and just they brought it to life in all ways I couldn't possibly imagine. So once it's done, you're not going to hear the end of it. Because there again, I'm shouting out. It's two narrators who are still trying to get in and get a bit of their following of their own, and I helping them helps me, and I love that symbiosis.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I do think when people are able to figure out how to, because it can be expensive, afford audiobooks, it's a great step to take because you'll be reaching a whole new set of readers and it brings your story alive in a completely different way than you can through some of these other formats. So that's pretty cool.
One of the best examples, in my opinion, is Sound Booth Theater. What they've done for Dungeon Crawler Carl and others series with their sound effects and others. Basically, they go the audio drama route of all the additional production value. It always adds to the story. They never cross that line where it distracts from the story, which is something I hope to do for my stories as well, but one step at a time.
Oh yeah, my latest audiobook is essentially, I guess, an audio drama, or one of the, I guess that's the category, because it does have the voice cast and the sound effects and the music, and it was a very long and arduous process to get it going and up and running, but it just launched, and I'm like, the weight off the shoulders. It's out and available.
I'll have to add it to my TBR. I love. It sounds like you poured a lot of passion and effort into it. So.
That was my dark shifter fantasy for new adult kind of age bracket, and that's Asara's Claws. So that first one is out in that format, and all my other series have various audiobooks by different narrators, and they're all. I just love the audiobook narrator group. They are fantastic people, far more talented than I am, because if I had to do it, everybody would sound the same.
Hey, I mean, something important both for you, me, and every other author out there. Yes, indie and publishing means that you have to do everything. You also have to decide what you cannot do, what you're willing to invest to hire other people to do. just part of running the business. Yes, you should try to do everything, but don't actually do everything all the time. You'll burn yourself out faster than you can blink.
That's my problem. Is I have that fear of missing out. So I try to do
FOMO is a
everything,
powerful
and then I
yeah.
don't do it.
FOMO is powerful, but it's a double-edged sword. You'll cut yourself on it every single time.
100%. 100%. And let me also ask you, I know we're winding down with the hour, but we have a few minutes on. It's fine.
If you don't mind going over, I don't mind going over.
Yes, perfect. Because I know we have this announcement, and I'm excited about that. But I do want to make sure I ask, where else can people find and hang out with you and follow you outside of Book Talk? So website, newsletter, other socials, where else are you?
Okay. Yeah, my website is nikolaiwisekal.com. It's also in the schmink in my bio because, yeah, TikTok is weird about promoting yourself apparently. But my other primary place is my Facebook reader group. I call it the Arcane Circuit because a circuit can symbolize a connection, a series of connections that transfer power or information, or it can be what you walk and go through. And I call all my members travelers.
Oh, I love that. That is really neat.
Thank you. That's where I post all my behind the scenes information, my struggles, my triumphs, my plans. My author page just usually gets more generic updates. My newsletter has been inactive for the longest time, but I am starting to get back into it and trying to do something with it because it is one of the things that we should have on a more routine basis. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to focus on trying to recycle content, like you suggested, with what I make available elsewhere. Just kind of incorporate into that to kind of cut down on amount of time it takes to get things done. And yes, thank you, Callie. Callie Jones is another sci-fi fantasy writer who has been an immense supporter, especially of Galaxy Waffles, and I've been. She did her encouragement and her support did help me finish writing that first story.
Wow. That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful.
And
I have another tip for you when it comes to repurposing things. And this was something another author, A.P. Beswick, passed on to me. And it's like, don't be afraid that if you've posted a video once on a platform, he does a lot on Instagram and this one, but he's like, give it a little while or repost it again, or even back to pack, download and re-upload that video and post it multiple times, because the algorithm always pushes it to different people at different times. So you can make one video and then reach a whole bunch of people by utilizing it multiple times. So again, repurpose.
I have not been doing that the way I should have been. Thank you. That's a great tip. Out of curiosity, do you use the same hashtags as the first time you posted, or do you try to change it up with the re-upload?
I will change the hashtags, and depending on what type of video it is, if it's something with a sound overlay, I may put a different background song or sound, and it all of a sudden kind of refreshes it a little bit.
Okay, perfect. And because Broomball said what he said, no, my cabbages! For all the Atlas.
Okay, and here's the big question, because I know you have been waiting for this one, and this goes for everybody also listening in. Is there any questions that you have that you didn't get to ask, or any topic that you wanted to cover that we haven't covered so far? And I know, Nikolai, you have something you wanted to cover.
Yes, I do. So July 23rd is actually the publishing anniversary for Galaxy Waffles novel, and I am going to be doing a giveaway. Now, here's a question. Do you want to know what's inside?
Ooh, do you all want a mystery or know what's inside? I don't know. Both can be fun.
But yeah, so if you comment on the TikTok video or the Facebook post, wherever you find and follow me, you will be entered into a wheel. I'm doing 3 total, so there is a good chance of getting it, depending on how many people participate. and all three of them will have the same contents, but I am willing to do personalized signatures and messages. I usually do supportive things. So if you tell me a favorite hobby, like say painting, I'm like, your paints always mix correctly along with your name. Gimme. You already have all this stuff. That's yeah. Again, that's part of the enthusiasm that has helped. Okay, well, mystery is fun and all, but yeah, I do want to share because I'm proud of it. So first, something that I haven't been given away before, got Redbubble T-shirts.
Ooh.
It's going to be a 2XL so definitely comfy and available for all. Of course, Galaxy Waffles itself. Stubby Squatch is a truck driver and he travels across the country, so he's planning on stopping by in Reno, where I live, get his stuff. We're also going to include stickers like my author logo, as well as the entire cast.
I love them.
And yes, I did make space dragons in my sci-fi adventure story because I can. I actually fun story about that. I reached out to a Latin professor here on TikTok and asked him what would be a realistic Latin classification, because all creatures have a Latin name. And I reached out to him because Google Translate exists, but as far as its accuracy, and he came up with something completely badass that I still have to figure out what something to do with, but Vacui Draco Vorax, Dragon of the Void. And I was like, oh my god, that's perfect. And we've got Jolene, of course. I am going to be including 2 waffle ship stickers because this tends to be the one that people place easiest, so maybe they can give it away or they can put it on multiple things. Boris, hands down my favorite character, and not because I don't like the rest of the cast, but some of his backstory just really hit me here, and I loved writing it.
Some Boris fans.
And of course, Murph.
So
all of that is going to be in the giveaway. We would like to do iron-on patches as well. That honestly depends on other things, but the artist that I hired, I believe, I hope I don't mess up their handle, Cryptid Creative. They're going to be bringing the Cthulians to life. And the Cthulians are, imagine if Starro and Alien Facehuggers were merged. And they're actually featured in the first chapter of the story, because the first chapter is called Rogue Sushi.
I love it.
But yes, they are going to be bringing that creature to life. I'm going to be putting down a payment tomorrow, and hopefully we will have that designed and ordered in time to be shipped off for the giveaway.
And what's the date of the giveaway one more time?
July 23rd will be when I spin the wheel and decide who, and random chance she'll decide who shall receive the giveaway.
That's so neat.
Thank you, and thank you for allowing the announcement here. Someone called my. Yeah, we're saying all sorts of things about you, Moose. But yeah, it's the publishing anniversary, so I wanted to do something special for Galaxy Waffles, for all the support that people have given it, all the reviews that have been left for it, and just sharing it with readers who love character-driven sci-fi.
Let me ask you, because I don't know if I asked this. So for that book, is this supposed to be a standalone, or are you working on sequels for a series?
Yeah, actually,
I'm a series writer, so I want to make sure I ask that because some people write standalones. So
by all means, the series name is Service Industry Chaos, which I'm not sure if I've announced elsewhere, but yes, Service Industry Chaos is the name of the series. The first book is Galaxy Waffles. The second novel is going to go through a similar path as the first one, where I'm going to be releasing episodes through Vella. I've actually released about 6 or 8, but other projects took priority, so I stopped releasing. But Yeah, I'm comfortable saying the title for the next book is Deep Fried Reality.
I love it.
Thank you. It took a long time to find that one, but I'm very happy with it.
Hey, it sounds great. I already can tell. It's supposed to be this humorous, sci-fi aspect, anyways, just based off it. So that's a great title, and it
Thank you
made
very
me
much.
chuckle. I'll be curious to see how that book cover ends up coming out later on too. And actually, I don't know. I don't know. This is another thing I actually don't know. For Kindle Vella, do you create covers for that, or do you just wait till you publish? Because I've never actually been on Vella, so.
It's for most of my stories, yes, I will use whatever Canva assets I have access to because the cover is an image about yay big,
Oh, okay,
and
got it.
then they generate like a surrounding banner with the name and with the story name
Huh.
and my name, and so it doesn't leave a lot of room for striking visuals. Actually, when Deep Fried Reality is written, edited, and ready for publishing, I'll probably be doing a new cover because while I love this one, it was one of the cost decisions I had to make
Mhm.
because I didn't actually pay. I paid a formatter to take all my art assets and make this.
Mhm.
So we used existing art to make it happen, but for Deep Fried Reality, yeah, the cover art's going to be can't just be these.
Mhm.
It has to mirror that title a little bit. So I'll probably be releasing a new cover art for that as well.
Ooh, that's fun. Hey,
Mhm.
and then depending on that, how long and you keep the original cover for your first book that way, you will have you know, a heritage
Classic.
cover. Yeah,
Yeah.
classic.
Heritage. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that heritage cover. Yeah. No, that works. Thank
I
you.
have a
Maybe I'll
heritage
use
cover
that.
for one of my books. I don't want to show it because it's not great.
Mhm.
I redid it for a reason, but we all learn. We live and we
Yeah.
learn.
No, absolutely. One of the great things about being indie is that while it feels like you're going nowhere, you are in fact going somewhere with every action and decision you make. You just have to know when the decision worked and when you have to go back and make a change, like you did with the cover art, like I'm going to do with the cover art. It
Hmm.
works for now,
Hmm.
but sometimes you need to make updates. It's
Yeah,
just how it goes.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for hanging out tonight, and I'm super excited about your announcement of your giveaway on the 23rd. And that is so much fun. I hope so many people sign up. I'll probably be signing up myself.
I will tag you in the video in the TikTok video I will be posting shortly. I just wanted to do like a bit of an overhead video showing all the contents, and so it should be done fairly quickly. Okay to tag you?
Yes, of course, please.
Perfect.
And if you ever want to do another one of these, I mean, I do them weekly. I schedule them in advance, but I do them weekly. So feel free to reach out to me at any point if you want to do another one when your sequel comes out or something again.
You know, I would love to be here for a part of the Divine Counseling Files Book One release. So I will fill out the form and we'll get something scheduled for the end of the year.
Perfect. Sounds great. And for everybody who's been joining in throughout this whole stream, thank you so much. And I'm excited to meet someone
Fantastic,
else and talk more books.
and you've been delightful, and this was great.
Perfect. And we'll keep in touch because I have my long list of things.
Happy to share.
Okay, bye everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye.